When most people think of the word environment, they think of rivers, mountains, and lakes, the natural environment. But for most of us, our environment is quite different. We are surrounded by buildings, parking lots, streets, sidewalks, things that man has made. Concrete as far as the eye can see.
A skateboarder looks at their environment in a completely different way.
Well, it's just kind of, you're screwed when you're a skateboarder because everything you see is like, you just don't see things the same way.
I think they see it as just opportunity, you know what I mean? Just an opportunity. If something new is getting built, you cross your fingers and hope it's something fun that you can skate, you know what I mean?
Things that wouldn't normally be considered useful to a pedestrian are useful to a skateboarder. So they tend to, they have a more interactive engagement with their surroundings, and I think that's the difference.
A skateboarder looks at a cityscape where you may just see people walking down steps, or you just may see a wall, or you may see a loading dock. But somebody who skateboards all the time is looking at the places that they could actually be experiencing their environment.
skated it, the first time I skated it, it was super clean out. That thing's all cement out there.
Yeah.
And then that night, that night it rained, and then we came the next day, and there was like a foot of mud in here.
Dude, what's hard to skate?
It's like rough right there. You see like there's concrete splattered.
Oh, it's actually color. You can probably ride on it. Start skating it, dumbass.
Suburbs, Omaha, Nebraska.
Chciałbym Państwu przedstawić ludową muzykę murzyńską Ameryki Północnej. Muzyka, której korzenie sięgają XIX wieku, kiedy w Ameryce kwitło niewolnictwo i handel korzeniami. Charakteryzuje się żywym rytmem typowym dla narodów Afryki, skąd wywodzili się przodkowie niewolników amerykańskich.
Our lives derive meaning and purpose from the spaces we occupy. My country, my neighborhood,
Tak, ale nam chodzi o koncert jazzowy. Proszę? Chwileczkę, jazz?
my street,
Nie było niejasności. Ale o co tu chodzi? Co wy mnie chcecie wrobić?
my space, and public space. But what is public space?
But the public space, or this sort of buffer zone, it's an area that it's a we area, and not just a me area.
Public, I think, means a lot of things sort of coexisting, which would involve a tolerance of each other's actions. So if someone wants to sit here and smoke a grit, like on their break, that should be cool. And by the same token, like coming here and using this thing as like a skate spot, that should be cool to the dude who's smoking a cigarette out here.
Well, public space, man, is pretty much should be used for the public, you know what I mean? Like, I'm the public, an old lady eating a sandwich on a curb, she's public. If you want to ride your bike through it, fine. If you want to go, you know, jump rope in the public space, go right ahead, man. If you want to go take a nap, fine. But if you want to ride a skateboard, go right ahead.
It's like a BLM land, you know? It's public use. You do what you want out there. Should be like that around here too, I guess.
What's the reality though?
Not happening, dude. It ain't happening.
In terms of skateboarding, I mean, public just has to deal with the streets, you know, and that's the perception. But I don't know. I don't know what public space is anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Ken Dahlgren, Skaters for Public Skate Parks.
There's public and there's public space, okay? Let's put it that way. Public is all the people who live within a society. Public space ends up being a function of which representatives within that pool of the public have been able to collect themselves and assert their right to recreate or to be within that space. So for an example, like, you know, I said the Pearl District, it's optimized for people who want to sit on $45,000 Harley Davidsons and wear leather, but they're like 65 years old and have a light white fluffy dog with a $5 cup of coffee. It is not optimized if you're a single mother with a 5 and a 7-year-old who want to play in the park. Skateboarders and, you know, of course the homeless and people who ride bikes and all kinds of other things are really not welcome within the public space that are being created.
So this is the courthouse, and these ledges have been here since like 1920 all the way up. And like this ledge has been, we've skated this ledge for like 20 years and it looks brand new, you know. You can't even tell anything's wrong with it except for the skate stoppers they put on there now. And there's never even been a problem here. Like, I don't know what they did, and one day I just saw it in the paper, like there was a picture of it, and I had to come down and I seen this. I was just like, I can't believe this. Like, they drilled holes in the ledge, and now like they're, you know, it compromises the integrity of them because they can chip, but they never chipped before, and it sucks because this was our spot.
July 23rd, 2005, a street session is in progress. 3 Portland, Oregon skateboarders push from spot to spot.
Oh yeah, see, the board went up. Now you just gotta like lift, see? Your back foot, it's like not doing anything on the tail. Check it out, you just go, you know, and like lift it up.
At the same time, skateboarders all around the world are also sessioning.
Yeah, this right here was the site of some of the first like ledge photos, Danny Sargent back in the day.
Really?
The art museum, there used to be these marble ledges back there. I remember that was kind of cool because it was like a good trick, and it was a guy from Portland. It was like Concrete Jungle ads back in the day. But they recently just rebuilt the whole thing. It's all gone now. So much stuff is just gone, but there's always something new built. Oh, over the bike. This used to be the tallest building in Portland, but then they built the Big Pink, and so now it's not. This is also, I think, one of the most hated buildings architecturally. I believe the quote was, "Everything about the design like exudes corporate ego." It's got like the moat around the entire building, and then the little. But yeah, that was just in the other day's paper. This place pretty much got demolished. This used to be called Magic 5 because of those 5 stairs, and it's demolished, got skate stopped, but that was unfortunate.
Like modern-day hunter-gatherers, skateboarders seek out the resources that fulfill their lifestyle.
No one will admit they still exist. Efficient killers work in silence, secrecy, darkness. Unholy masters of terror. By magic.
what is skateboarding? The device itself is so simple. A wooden board with 4 small wheels.
Most skateboarders see themselves as not as like a sport, but more of like an art form or a way to express yourself. It's more of like, it's more of like a self-expression, I think, even though it's not.
For me, I kind of think of it as a naturally occurring martial art form that was just
I use my skateboard as a weapon, a shield, and a getaway vehicle in protests, like battling riot police.
Skateboarding is a natural expression of
I also use it
the human desire to move, and the human desire to move is rooted in our desire for freedom.
The definition of skateboarding is very simple. It's an athletic wheeled mastery over the environment that we function within, no different than, let's say, mountain biking. It's a wheeled
sports and arts and
mastery
art.
over
It's my way of
the environment.
freedom. I hate that crap. You skate because it's, well, sometimes it's fun, but you skate, I don't know, because your friends do it, you have nothing else to do. You're good at it.
Ways to do it.
It's an art, it's bull crap. I mean, I guess
it's a healthy athletic activity. It's also a lifestyle. So, I don't know. I think those are the kind of people that are drawn to skateboarding, are the people that don't need somebody else to tell them what to do. But
Rich, poor, you know, it's just this multicultural, incredible.
Pick up a paintbrush and paint something crazy, you know, that nobody's ever painted or whatever, drawn. That takes a lot of creativity. And to find, you know, some random ass spot that just looks like a pile of crap and do something rad on it, it's the same idea, you know, it's like the same part of your brain working. It's the same type of person that's gonna do that. So I guess it's kind of like artistry, but it's just corny to say that it's just art because it's just abstract, you know? It's not anything. It's unclassifiable. It's just a skateboard.
Although the question of what is skateboarding is not easily answered, what is clear is that a highly creative culture has developed around this activity.
I was headed in a whole other direction. I had a whole different idea of what my life was going to be like, and then all of a sudden, bam! Like I met these people. I started skating, and I was playing in bands, and everything changed. You know, there was seriously like a shift, and I think it was that creative part of my mind going, okay, this is the place where I can let loose all the stuff that I know is like in there waiting to come out. You know.
People that skateboarded would get into art because they had art friends, and people that were into art would get into skateboarding because they had skateboard friends, and it just seemed like one giant community of outcasts.
Skateboard artist, well, it's like, to me, no different than skateboarder.
The one element that I always see in skateboarding that's been pervasive throughout since the dawn of skateboarding is this kind of like do it yourself.
So there's a sense that if you have an idea, you should be able to make it happen. DIY is a philosophy that says, do it yourself. Go ahead and make it happen. You can print a magazine, you can make a film, you can build a skate park.
That's one thing I enjoy about being a skateboarder is I think it enables me to have a tie to what I consider to be youthful and vibrant. I know too many people, an increasing number of people who are closer to my age, who really don't understand what it means to be creative, in my opinion. Here's my definition of creativity and innovation: is taking something created for one context and putting it into an entirely different and sometimes inappropriate context. So somebody builds a wall in a city, and it takes the creativity of a child. That's what I like about Craig Stesic says the same thing. It takes the creativity of a child to realize, hey, I can spray paint on the thing, or hey, I can run on that thing, or hey, I can ride my bike off that thing, or I can skateboard on that thing, or I can do 100 million other things that are never intended. That's innovation. That requires creativity. That's an attribute that I don't think not everybody has. I think it's something that needs to be nurtured, and I do believe children have it, but I believe that some of it dies among the people who I consider barren of youthful vibrancy, who unfortunately dominate our society.
Get out of here!
Sorry. Dang.
I'm so fucking tired of you guys coming around here!
Okay!
Tell all your friends!
Okay! Don't fucking yell! Don't touch me! Don't touch me! Hey!
Get out of here, I'll get that board from you and you'll never see it again!
Oh shit!
You are trespassing! You have no business here, and you never come to a place you don't have business! There are parks for you to go to, and you
Sorry, sir. Sorry, sir.
I'm so tired of you guys, it just makes me sick.
Okay, we're sorry. I'm really sorry, okay?
Sorry about that.
I think skateboarding is a far more profound revolution than people give it credit for.
Edmund Bacon, world-renowned urban planner, father of Love Park.
The wonderful thing to me is that these young people discovered that they themselves would creatively adapt to the environment they already found. The whole notion of adapting to the environment, it is almost contrary to the basis of our civilization. You, skateboarders, are the leading edge of a revolution of the human being's relation to his or her environment. What you already have done is to reinvent the idea that a human being can create spontaneously out of their own joie de vivre, out of their own interior feelings, a movement through whatever environment happens to catch their fancy, which is built on the creative application of the human body moving through an environment and relating to it.
Look at this skate spot. I don't know, they put these useless bars on it. You can't do anything. It's like, why? This is the best skate spot. You got the peaceful water in the background. You got the little bank, the wall ride. No more nose manuals, no manuals. Nothing.
Why does skateboarding evoke such passion? And why is it that so many non-skateboarders have equally passionate reactions against it?
Whether you like it or not, street skating is trespassing and damaging property, either private or public, you know, it doesn't matter. So that might have something to do with it, like why people don't like street skating.
No, I think it's a nuisance. I think that that skateboarders just they don't really pose any sort of advantage to the property owner. It doesn't really have that much to do with property damage. I think it has more to do with that they're not customers.
my generation of skateboarders, like people who are like in their early 30s now, like are the ones that pretty much ruined it initially, you know, because I mean, we used to just, you know, hang out in like a shopping center parking lot, you know, and there was no security guards but you can't do that anymore, you know, like try going over here to Target and sessioning the curbs, you know, it lasts about 10 seconds.
There's a surveillance camera everywhere. It used to be maybe like you could do something for half an hour and then a security guard might come, but now you know that they're gonna be there in like 3 minutes.
Skaters put themselves in these situations where security does come after them and cops come after them, and they've become sort of desensitized to it, you know, like, so when you get like a guy running up to you saying, everybody lay down, like, their first reaction lots of times is just to laugh, you know.
Well, skateboarding is a crime. That's something that irritates me about it. People say skateboarding's not a crime. It is a crime. That's what pisses me off. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna go, it's so pathetic. It's gotta be the most whiny mantra ever. Like I've said before, we've got 7 times as many skateboarders in this country as there are people in the entire US military. We're on average, we're 14 years old. We're a huge goddamn army of people, and we're young, and we're strong, and we're vibrant, and we're fearless. And what is our mantra? We're not a crime. It makes me want to vomit. I can use the example of the Hispanics, for example. In parks bureaus, they talk about wildcat leagues. I think this is great. Wildcat leagues, they have baseball fields. We have 183 baseball fields in Portland. More often than not, the things are totally empty, or if you're lucky, they're full of dog poop because people's dogs run all over them. Hispanics come in and they bring a taqueria truck, and there's 200 of them, and they're having a great time, and they haven't registered with the proper authorities, and they haven't really got permission. And when people come and confront them, they say, no habla inglés. I think that's genius. I think that's great. It's a public space. They're using the crap out of it. You know what I mean?
Tom Potter, Mayor, Portland, Oregon.
Well, you know, I was the police chief in 1991, and I had heard about these young people building this park under the Burnside Bridge.
Burnside stories, it's what they call the smash and grab. Like, you know, you can beg for forgiveness or ask for permission, you know what I mean? So what we did instead is we just started building.
And I always like to go see things for myself, so I drove over there and I saw that they were working on this place, and I started talking to them, and I realized, because having been a police officer, I knew that in the past a lot of problems had occurred under that bridge. I came back and I watched them, and eventually I ended up donating money, my own personal money, because I felt so strongly what they were doing was not only good for them, it was good for that area. And they became our police there, because they kept the folks who were causing the problems or drinking to excess down in that area, they kept them out.
And if you've got a spot that's hot enough, nobody else will exist in that environment. That's all there is to it. You know, nothing will compete. It's just a white, hot, athletic expression. There's nothing else. You can't sit and shoot dope there when people are riding like hell. You know what I mean? They're just going to go somewhere else.
And they did a great job. And to this day, I was down there just a few months ago watching them skate. There's a real strong sense that this is their park.
But man, this is why I tell people, just smash and grab is where it's at. Just do it. You know what I mean?
Stories like this are not uncommon today. Since the beginning, skateboarders have been creating their own spaces. But recently, they have begun to create them on public land.
No, we absolutely did not have permission before we started doing this. And we had the 2 main features that you see behind me here. We had those both built before the city even knew what was going on down here.
SoDo Industrial District, Seattle, Washington.
This place is a disaster. I mean, we've swept up needles down here. Human feces, yeah, we've seen quite a bit of that. Dirty condoms, you know, people are using this as a place to, you know, bring their hooker and they just throw their stuff out the window. There's, you know, all sorts of booze bottles. Everything that you would not want to have anything to do with, we've found down here. It's pretty cool, you know. I think the cops realize that we're not doing any damage down here, you know. They'd rather have us down here having fun, keeping the place clean than the homeless camp that we displace.
This is our world, you know what I mean? So who am I? Why do I have to go beg somebody about what I'm gonna do?
Well, I think there's gonna be a big movement to recapture underutilized public spaces, you know? especially in urban areas and big cities like this. If it's not being used, why can't we reclaim it for our own use?
It's us reclaiming the landscape that's ours. We could go and ask, but they're just going to say no.
What we need to work on is getting people to have an understanding of the mental process that's going on when kids are skating a ledge. Because I really think most people stand there and they see kids lined up and skating a bench, just going back and forth, hitting a bench, and to most people, the kids might as well be standing there chopping away at it with their skateboards like this, just hitting it like with an axe. Like that's what I think a lot of adults see.
Prefabricated ramps from playground companies, put them on an old tennis court, put a fence around it, make the kids wear helmets and pads, even though statistically skateboarding's not that dangerous. And the kids, it just kills the vibe. So they don't skate the park, they skate in the city and they get $320 tickets for doing so. And then what do? I mean, it's almost as if society would prefer that they just continue playing, like smoking cigarettes and hiding out behind the store and maybe doing methamphetamine or driving their cars while they're drunk. I mean, for Christ's sake, they're riding skateboards. You know what I'm saying? Like, at least invest in something that's fun for them.
Under Interstate 95, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
This is our bank to curb that we built. We used about 35 to 40 bags of cement on this. We used cinder blocks, bricks, I'd say about 20 buckets of dirt, some rebar, and actually when we were building this piece, it probably took about 3 or 4 hours from start to finish. Come over here, I'll show you actually. If you can see the face wall, you can see the one side is really smooth, man. We had plenty of time to do this side, and as we were pouring this side, we were about halfway done, the cops roll up with their lights on. And they say, quote unquote, "Gentlemen, let me see your building permit." And at that point, I was like shitting my pants, man. We had about 10 guys here. We had all the cement, all the supplies, our cars. It was late. It was about maybe midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. So I mean, it took some smooth talking to the cops, and you know, they finally gave us they said, "You got about 20 minutes to get the hell out of here, or the paddy wagon's gonna be here." So. And you know, that's pretty much the gist of everything. We come down here, we skate. It's illegal. We just come here and we do it. The cops sometimes kick us out, sometimes they don't. For the most part, we try to keep it clean here. I know there's a lot of trash around right now, but we do clean up.
perpetrate.
In the 1900s, public spaces were much more natural. It was like Vaughan Olmsted, the guys who designed Central Park in New York City. Very sweeping kind of fabricated landscapes, lots of soft space, trees, flowers. You know, it was a very naturalistic approach to the design of public space. Okay, the 50s and 60s, we kind of architects, designers. You know, felt like we could kind of reinterpret the relationships between people and spaces and design different kinds of spaces. And ultimately what resulted was some very kind of brutalist and formal approaches to the way, you know, spaces were designed. I mean, this is a good example too. If you film down in here, in this kind of design, the bench becomes abstracted. It becomes a chunk of the architecture. Right, so you've changed the whole way you're making people feel. You've changed the whole, I mean, it's not really, those things aren't very comfortable to sit on. I mean, and there were strategies there. Part of the strategy was, well, it controlled the activity. I mean, you didn't necessarily want people hanging around in these spaces, you know, all the time. And what it did, unknowingly, was create this whole palette of materials for skateboarders to become creative with.
So you could come here, you know, like 1995 or whatever, and skate down to Love Park and see a whole bunch of really, really skilled professional skateboarders. And you didn't have to pay for it. It happened whether or not you were there. Like, it was not controlled or governed by anyone. It was just a completely natural gathering of people riding skateboards, and very talented people. It's absolutely an ideal place to learn how to skateboard and to practice skateboard tricks. The surface on the ground, the surface on the ledges, the proportions of the elevation changes, it's ideal. Like, you couldn't design it better.
Tony Bracali, a Philadelphia architect, has recently taken an interest in skateboarding and its relationship to the design of public spaces.
This is Love Park circa 2005, per the renovations that they did, I guess 2 or 3 years ago now, when the city decided that they weren't going to allow skateboarding here anymore. So part of the renovation project was to add these planters, and you can see that they, you know, the idea was to make them tall enough that they couldn't be skated. And you can see in a few spots, like in particular that ledge right over there, see that, I mean, that still gets skated above the planter. So in fact, I've seen some skate videos where guys are coming in and grinding that ledge and, you know, board sliding that ledge and going above the planter. So in fact, they've actually created kind of a cool new, you know, opportunity there that I don't think they quite knew about. So
when Mayor Street, for some unknown reason, thought it was something that had to be stopped, and thought that he, by changing the environment, would wreck the skateboarder's joy in Love Park. And he spent $1 million of public money for no purpose whatsoever, but to destroy the use of Love Park by the skateboarders. And of course the skateboarders, which he didn't even conceive of, said, oh, the environment is different. We'll do it differently. And they went right ahead and kept on skateboarding in Love Park. So after spending $1 million, he went right back to the police prohibiting it.
Yeah, it was great fun. I mean, the best, most enjoyable times of my life were spent in that park, just, you know, dorking around with my friends. Yeah, it was great. Like, when that park was closed down, my life changed for the worse. and a lot of people's did, you know? It had a really big effect.
Under the Brooklyn Bridge, New York, New York.
How'd it came out? It's alright? I felt like I hit a brick on the first one. That's alright.
The Brooklyn Banks has been a spot that's been skated like since the 70s, you know what I mean? And as you could see, like from going there today, it's just like a perfect place to skate. It's away from all residential stuff, you know, under a bridge. It's like covered. Nobody walks through there really, like tourists that much, so it's just totally away from everybody. The perfect skate spot, you know. And the city wanted to redo that park, that whole park there, and make it more like, make it have more activities available there. But it's just like, no one's gonna go hang out under a bridge, like no matter what you put there. So I worked with the Parks Department and the Capital Projects people in Manhattan saying like, you know, don't take anything out, just leave it as it is. Because whenever they hear skate park, they think of like X Games and all that shit. Like, oh, you know, these kids want like a 14-foot ramp or like this, so they're like, oh, that's not what we want. We don't want like these big ass ramps. And I told them like, kids want to skate benches and stuff. You know, benches, ledges, and you already have like these huge banks here that kids love to skate. Just, you know, you have it already. So just, you know, don't remove stuff, just leave it. Just make it like skate area, designated area for skating, you know. So it's a good spot, it's back. The way I see the city is, as soon as you step out your door in a city and you put down your board, it's just like you're being put into like, kind of like you're one side of a zipper and then the city's the other side of the zipper, and you just kind of like are meshing in.
just that you gotta watch out for the cab drivers and the snipers. Yeah.
Thanks for letting us skate. It's a lot of fun, man.
We're going to get hurt. That's all. All right, I don't want to see anybody get hurt.
City Council meeting, Portland, Oregon.
I think that it would just be really great to have more skate parks here because, as I know and a lot of my friends know, a lot of skateboarders are considered as punks, as being judged like that, vandalizers, destructive. And I know me and all my friends, we just want to have fun. And skate parks where we have fun.
Thank you, Patrick. I'm a strong believer and a supporter in skateboard parks. In fact, I'd like to see more than 19 skateboard parks. I'm really interested in that.
Proposed skate park, Schuylkill River, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Because if someone had said to me 5 years ago, Tony, you know, would you want to design a skate park? I would have said no. I mean, I don't, you know, skate parks are boring places. There's nothing endearing about the design of a traditional skate park to someone like me who's looking at context and relationships and, you know, aesthetic issues and materials. You know, those things, I had no interest in a concrete skate park in the middle of a field.
The idea behind Anthony Bricali and Skate Nerd was that they would design a public space that catered to all users, including skateboarders.
I mean, the types of spaces that we're creating here are spaces for people to come off of the bike path and sit and relax, you know, informal meeting spaces, covered areas that you can look up and down the river.
The idea of having a skate park that's not a skate park is really very old. It's just recently that people have started actually getting it done.
Once the city had decided that they weren't going to allow skating in Love Park, you hear museum, 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 and then Philadelphia's making the statement to say, well, we recognize how important skating is, we're going to place a skate park here. And it's going to be this great urban amenity.
The design looks great. The design looks great. It'll be, if we can get it built, it'll be amazing.
Suburbs, Lincoln, Nebraska.
Yeah, BGP mark, Bussy. What? I'm breaking the shit out of this thing. AK marks forward. I was like, I hung over it and I was sitting there, I was just like, it's not getting any farther behind me. John. I'll shower Friday and then just be good for the rest of the weekend. That was saucy. Did you get the whole thing? That was saucy. Different at school. When I go to school, I take showers every day, but summertime.
We're pushing for legitimization of skateboarding. Skate parks are an important part of that, but in order for skateboarding to maintain its vitality, it needs to have a touch into the wild and the environment in which it was spawned. The essence of the activity is its interplay with the natural environment. Is the same reason, say, kayaking in the ocean is more interesting versus kayaking in a swimming pool. Skateboarding was spawned within an environment that has a million different characteristics that makes it interesting, and it has to have that tie in order to maintain its innovation, its vitality.
Well, I don't know where to start. I feel like we're breaking the first chunks out of the Berlin Wall. That's how I feel. Thanks. Here you go.
Hopefully I think this is flying out. Get under it with that and walk it over. There you
Woo! This part's hot.
Yeah, don't touch that.
What part is hot?
That thing is really hot. we have permission to do this.
What the hell do you think you're doing?
This is the Thea's Park right of entry from Metro Parks, which basically says that we are allowed to conduct the removal of all of the skate stoppers at this spot.
Did you call him? Don't film me.
Sorry about that.
I think sometimes that skateboarders are even a little bit too modest about themselves. And I think that they must realize that they are at the cutting edge of a new perception of life for the young. And that in the long run, they're absolutely bound to win, because that's the way history works, that there are a bunch of jerks that can't see the new vision at all, and it scares them.
Tacoma, Washington. In an unheard of decision, the city permits the local skateboarders to remove more than 170 skate stoppers from Thea Park. I want to talk directly to the skateboarders. You really are the revolutionaries in thought and culture. You should be proud of the resistance you have created, and you must stick with it. You must not let the stick-in-the-mud older people prevent your continuing with the great process that you've initiated. Edmund Bacon.